Welcome to another Sales Wisdom Pod with Casey. Jacox is with us today, sales executive, leadership coach, author, podcaster, keynote speaker. He is a former college quarterback, so former athlete, spent time in the corporate world. Did not like it. Well, he did like it, but he liked entrepreneurship better, I guess. We're going to talk about that today. He is, just a powerhouse. Love the type of life that he's living, golfing, chilling with the family. So I look forward to that type of life too. This podcast brought to you by podpire.com. If you want to start, scale up, or be invited to podcasts like this one, podcasts are pretty cool. Casey will tell you the same. It allows you to meet folks. It's very much win-win. You get free insights from one another if we do our mutual job well today, Casey. And you get leads, you even get clients of it. So I never expected that when I started. Plus, you do good, right? You share knowledge for free with the world, as we should. Casey, welcome to the pod. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your business?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for inviting me as a guest. I'm honored to spend time with you today. Well, I'm a father first, and when you said I'm chilling, I'm like, I don't know if I'm chilling yet. That sounded like a good life too. I'm ready to live that one, but I'm back in competition mode. As you said, I spent 20 years in corporate. I think a lot of the principles I learned through athletics, playing quarterback in college, helped me. I focus on three key things: humility, vulnerability, curiosity, which are superpowers I believe most leaders have. I think the elite sellers have those. And after spending 20 years in corporate, I would say lucky, being right guy, right time, right place. I was a number one producer at a company called K-Force for many years, close to 10 years, and then moved into an executive role. And then opportunities, circumstances happened, and it was time. And left on great terms, think the world of that place. But there was a voice in my head saying that there was a message I had to get out, which is the title of my book, called Win the Relationship, Not the Deal. And I knew I wanted to start a podcast and help fathers lean in on their vulnerability. So I have a weekly podcast called the Quarterback Dadcast, where we learn about how dads were impacted by their parents and how we're looking to shape their leadership skills in the home. So after I did those two things, then coaching and speaking found me, Charles. I did not plan on doing this, but it found me. And back in March of 2020, the great Leslie Vickery from Clear Edge Marketing gave me a chance, and I've not looked back. So I'm serving the wealth management industry, insurance, software, staffing, consulting, the golf retail business industry as well. And I'm loving it. It's an absolute blast.
Tell me, because your career is cool in the corporate world, first is interesting and so forth, almost 2 decades at K-Force. But tell me about that sabbatical. What happened there?
Yeah, most people don't find that. So good job finding it on LinkedIn. I said, Dad on sabbatical. I was just really, after a 20-year run, it was a sprint. And so I had to kind of clear my mind before I wrote my book. And so I kind of gave me time to really spend time with my kids. And then from 9 to 11:30 for 4 months, I wrote every single day. Some days it was probably productive. Some days it wasn't, but I'm a very habitual person and disciplined person. And so I knew that if I was going to get this book out, I had to write every day. And so 4 months later, the first draft was done. And that sabbatical, I did a lot of just kind of searching, like what's important, and I read this other book called The Surrender Experiment during that time, which a little out there, for some from a spiritual perspective, but really hit me in the heart, because it got me to surrender to you don't control everything. And it helped me really lean in on everybody has superpowers, but it really allowed me to lean in on what was important. And I shared some of these things before around humility, vulnerability, and curiosity. And every time I say those words, I'm getting free coaching for myself. And I just really knew that my kids were only getting older, and the time that I had, I wanted to just spend it quality with them. So that was my wife. Obviously, she and I spent a lot of quality time together too, but it was also right in the middle of the pandemic. So, interesting time to be on a sabbatical, but also a great time to be on a sabbatical.
What did the QB life did to you? Was that the nascence of discipline in you? What skills did you learn from that?
I learned actually a massively powerful lesson, not only goal setting, visualization, discipline, but I learned that it can be gone tomorrow. So when I was a junior in high school, I was in a quarterback competition with a kid that was much bigger, faster, stronger than me. And fast forward the story, it taught me about goal setting, and I had to work my what off, and got in the gym and throw the football to anybody who would catch it. And the next thing you know, I beat this kid out, and it kind of shocked a lot of people. And we went on. My junior year in high school we had a pretty good team, pretty good year, but we weren't anything special. And then later that summer, before my senior year, I went to a couple of football camps with my friends, and I ended up going to the University of Washington football camp in the summer of 1993, and I would end up winning the most valuable quarterback camp at this award, the court award at this camp, which surprised me. I did not anticipate that. Next thing you know, I'm getting recruited by them. Well, fast forward the story, right before the senior year, the kid that I beat out, he's now playing a position called tight end. For those, it's like a receiver, blocking receiver. And the last play of the Jamboree, which is kind of like a practice game against other teams, I would break my foot in 4 spots, and my high school career was done. And I didn't get to play my senior year. The guy that I beat out, now he has to go in and play quarterback for us. The lesson was the world will move on. You're not as good as you think. We're all replaceable. Was the lesson. And those first 3 games, Charles, I was selfish. I was immature. I was thinking bad things. I hoped that he played bad. In my mind, I hoped the team sucked, because I just didn't know how to handle the emotion that I was going through. And this is where I learned about the power of vulnerability and the power of asking for help. And I remember after 3 games, I went to my high school football coach, shout out to Marty Osborne. And I said, Coach, I am embarrassed by my behavior. I'm embarrassed that I'm thinking these things, but I'm a captain. I'm not acting like it. And I need help. And all he said was, man, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, did you hear what I just said? I mean, I'm literally hoping the team sucks and does bad, and you're proud of me? He goes, no, I'm proud of you because you came and asked for help. And I go, let's figure this out, Case. Let's figure out a role you can play to help the team. I'm like what? I kind of had a shitty attitude still. And he goes, why don't you go open the press box, help me call plays, and you know this offense better than me. We'll call plays together. And right when he said that, it was like a vacuum sucked the negative energy right out of me. And now I had purpose, I had clarity, I had a vision. I was back being myself. And so, if I didn't do that, I don't know what would have happened, but I'm glad I did. And so I'm almost 48 years old. I think about that lesson, which nearly 30 years ago. To this day, I still think about that. So
it's a hell of a lesson. It's a hell of a good story. Yeah, props to you for having that vulnerability skill somewhat developed, because I never had that on my side. I mean, I used to get honest when I would be drunk at that age. But it was very much like this toxicity, right? Like always competing with my friends, who gets the most girls, who gets the most beer into us, who does the most outrageous thing at that party. Very ego driven. I was known for my ego when I was young. Still carry that with me to this day, and that leads directly to my next question. So I do have curiosity. I'm maxed out in curiosity. I do have vulnerability. Nowadays, I don't give a shit. I'll share anything here. Even if I'm going to be canceled, so I'm willing to take that bet. The humility, though, I don't believe that much in humility. I believe in rationalism, but if only it was just rationalism, it would be good, because it's not, because I constantly try to influence my brain to think bigger and better. So, the laws of manifestation, whatever you want to call it, that shit works. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a trillionaire, and that won't fit the box of humility. So what do you have to say or advise me on that?
I think you can have those goals. Just be open. There might be different ways to get there, right? I think humility for me is, my quarterback coach in college said, Casey, if you have to tell people how good you are, you're not that good. When you're great, they will tell you.
True.
I think the reason why I think I was the number one guy at K-Force for 10 years is not because it was all me. It was, I had great clients. I had great teammates. I had great support people. I had a lot of luck go my way. Now I was driven as, I was a hard worker. I was very habitual. But drove me was when my CEO would say, holy shit, you did way better this year than you did last year. And you're more humble. that drove me. And I think back to your question about football, as a quarterback, for those that don't know football, American football, it's like there's 10 other guys in the huddle, and I need all 10 other guys to play their best for me to be my best. And if I'm constantly blaming them, that's not humility. That's where my ego gets me. So when I would always, do everything I can to make life easier on them, they would work harder for me. And so humility is, to me, is, humble enough to know that I don't have all the answers. I might have been successful at K-Force. Doesn't matter. I got to go prove myself as a speaker and a coach now. I got to go prove myself as a podcaster. I don't know all that there is to know. So I think that's, for me, when I think about humility, that's what I'm talking about.
I hear you on that. I'm not going to use the word "I know my place," but I know where I stand. Also, that's a real list in me. I'm probably like 1% in my journey. If like 1%, if 100% would be my goals, let's call it $1 trillion. And that's one aspect of me, right? It's not like the full size of me. Want to use this money to do good as well. So I know where I am in that journey. Doesn't change the fact that what is present, what is future, what is past, like if you're already there, sometimes you can feel it. It's like it's not rational. But what I found is that just saying that out loud to others doesn't help anyone. Some people find it inspiring. Most people don't find it inspiring. They're like, you're crazy, you're nuts. Also, if I don't explain the vision behind the $1 trillion, most will think that I just want to be rich and flash my Ferrari, which is not the purpose. But I also have somewhat given up on humans. I'm using bots quite a lot this year, and because and nowadays I'm not super nice to my employees, because it's just like this very cold and rational person that deals with bots most of the time and just orders GPT to do that. Do you think humans or do you think the current model of employer and employee currently works? Can I just work with AIs and create my armies of bots and scale that way and still do good while not employing and doing the classic like leadership stuff with my folks, or just not have any folks in the business?
I believe in human interaction. I think AI is a tool that will help me. I believe that, just one man's opinion. I love the human interaction. I love learning about people. A bot's not going to make me feel emotion. ChatGPT is not going to make me feel emotion, me personally. I think everybody has to make that choice for themselves. I think companies that have relationships, human relationships, I think we were born to connect with people. I think we get inspiration from connecting with people and putting our guard down and learning more about certain situations, whether it's home life, work life, hearing about vacations. That I talked to somebody today that she's like, she hates working remote because she misses the human interaction. I know that when I went and spoke at a conference back in June, I felt this high around like just the humans of being around there. So for me, I don't think so. I think, but everybody's different. For me, it wouldn't work for me, but maybe it would work for you.
Because like right now we're having a convo. This is nice, but the model in a business is an employee that does 9 to 5. They're paid hourly, and they ask to be paid after 2 or 4 weeks, for example. And if they haven't brought that value, which is like in 99% of the case, when you're a startup, when you're a small business, and they're not performing at the same level, and they're taking of your meat that you hunted, you gave them a shot, you gave them teachings, you gave them value. I just feel the exchange is not fair. And that is until you crack the code, right? Because I think corporations have cracked the code, and now it's the other way around. It's like them that have the way bigger end of the sticks vs employees. Mm-hmm. So I'm often questioning that model. I love humans. I deeply love humans, but I just think that model needs to switch. Anyway, we'll keep that one for another day. I want to learn more about your podcast. What was the reason why you decided to start it, and have you met these objectives since you started with it?
Yeah, well, I got to give love to my college teammate, guy named Ty Nunez. He was the one that really helped me get this thing going, because I talked about it and there really wasn't a lot of action. He said, he came to my house. He said, bro, we're doing this right now. We're going to start this thing. He helped me buy the equipment. I figured out I just started signing up for stuff. And then we started writing the list of who we wanted to do, and that was 4 years ago. So my goals were, when I started, was I was looking to do a podcast that helps me stay curious, that lets me learn, and selfishly lets me find out how I can be a better father each and every day, and how can I help inspire dads to be better, and we all be better together, because if we as dads are creating environments where there's more strong foundation, then we're going to help kids become better humans in the world, better employees, better leaders, whatever it may be. Now, my goal was just keep doing an episode each week. And that was 4 years ago. And episode 210 came out yesterday. We're August 25th when we're recording today. So every episode's come out every Thursday. I did not anticipate getting a sponsor. And that was 3 years ago. Latitude Sitka, it's an island up in Sitka, Alaska, fishing experiences. I mean, they sponsor me. So it's, again, I go back to this word surrender, that it's so fun. I think before I interview dads, I show them the script, which looks like this, Charles. I'll say, everybody, here's what the script looks like. It's two blank pieces of paper. And I'll say, but here's what's going to happen. You're going to see my curiosity come through. I'm going to get you to talk about things you probably haven't thought about in a long time. You might even cry. We're going to laugh. But we'll both feel like we went through therapy. This will be over an hour. I'll have 2 pages of notes. And you're going to have feel inspired. And it happens every time.
Wow, man. I'm stealing that framework. Maybe not the blank journal, but it's very, very good. How do you make sure that this happens all the time? Because sometimes there's folks that it takes them more time to get into it. There's others that are not the best communicators. What are your tips to get this going?
I think we got to ask the right question. I joke with, a great podcaster, a great seller, a great leader. We have a lot in common. Here's my dad joke coming with a good custodian, because a custodian has keys on his or her hip, and those keys are used to unlock doors. And so when we ask the right question, it unlocks the right conversation, the right thought, the right framework. And if we're prepared, and we ask the question that might surprise somebody, I find it gets people to open up.
Is there a way to formulate these questions? The research, for example, you pull it out and then you pull your own serotonin zones, and that's how you produce the question in the end, in the moment?
Oh, I use a framework called TED, which is tell me, explain, describe. It's a great way to ask questions. And then I think what most people don't do is they don't ask the second and third level. So they ask maybe first level question. Hey, tell me about your day. And they start talking about themselves. They might say, hey, tell me 2 things you loved about your day. Tell me more about that. Describe why that was so fun. I mean, I can keep going all day long. So it's like the second, third level open-ended question. And they have to feel it in your tone and the genuineness of your voice when you speak about it or ask about it. And I find when people feel like you genuinely care, they're going to open up. And I think for me, it's almost a game, like getting them to open up and knowing that I'm there to serve. I'm not, I think if I show up that way, I found at least 200 and some odd episodes so far. It's worked so far.
The curiosity aspect, to me, comes very natural. I think I've always been that way. I'm not sure how to explain to folks to be curious, like be driven by your serotonin, or dive into a deep rabbit hole, try Wikipediaing at night, and then like save another article, and then go down, until, is there even a bottom to that? I don't think so. How does one get more curious?
That's a good question. I think curiosity I think it starts with ego. I think if we can check our ego at the door, knowing that we don't know everything, we might know a lot about something, but if we get outside our comfort zone and look to ask questions about something we don't know, that can help with curiosity. I think working on our listening skills can help with curiosity. I think there's a difference between, one of the chapters in my book, I wrote the difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is subconscious, listening is conscious. So I think when we focus on those things, it can improve our curiosity. But I think I like to use history, like learn from others, because success leaves clues. You look at a guy named Walt Disney. I mean, no one's perfect, but he talks about curiosity that really helped him. Michelangelo, former painter, obviously he's done pretty well for his life. Got him Orson Swett Martin. He was pretty curious. He's been successful. So
Leonardo.
Yeah. I mean, let's go. We can go. Let's go
Bill
on.
Gates, Elon, all the
Einstein.
richest. Einstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, my man Einstein. Yeah, love the guy, by the way. I read the Walter Isaacson as Brick. That was one of my first inspiring book that kickstarted me on this entrepreneurial journey. Read it on a road trip to New Brunswick. Still remember to this day. I'm gonna reread it actually. Thank you for the plug. Vulnerability. Again, default state for me since probably a decade. Gone to various therapies, did tons of retreats and meditation, self-question, which is good, right? With my size of ego, thank God for that, whatever God is, an AGI. How does one get more vulnerable, and when is too much?
I don't know what too much is. I don't know if I have thoughts there. To me, vulnerability for me, when I see people who are really, really successful and they still say, hey, I'm not sure. What do you think? Or I see a leader, when someone goes and asks them a question, they'll say, hey, great question. Tell me what you think. Versus being the one that's always telling the answers. And then they wonder why they fear, seeps into like an organization. And then you have people get complacent, people get burnt out, and people want to leave, which is just a loop of toxicity. So one of my mentors in life, he said, it's okay not to know every answer. It's just not okay not to do anything about it. And when I heard that, it just like stopped me, in the track that like, we don't have to know all the answers. We're never going to know all the answers, but it's okay to say, I don't know, but then set someone's expectations and go find the answer. And if someone expects me to be perfect, well, then maybe that's not someone in my life, because perfect doesn't exist. We're all flawed. We all have gaps. We all can get better. And so staying vulnerable to finding out what those things are, then leaning into it, to me, I think is a really inspiring trait to have in life.
Perfection, so toxic, not only for your business life, but also your personal life. I remember feeling it in the heart, like when I was younger, right? Oh, you felt this test and you're not being accepted in that program and so forth. It was really demoralizing and destroying me from the inside just to enjoy a normal life. And I think most kids are taught that way, which is why I'm on to the changing the educational system in less than 3 years when I'll have my kids. Especially, I don't want them to live the same experience. Obviously, this could be also me imposing something on them, so I don't want to take that route, but I do want to inspire them for independence, freedom, and entrepreneurship, which are synonyms. Question for you. The dad thing. So yeah, I'm about to be a dad in 0 to 2 years. Well, not 0. Theoretically, if my wife gets pregnant tomorrow at 6 or 7 or 8 months, I forgot. How do you become a great dad? Let's keep it to this.
Well, I think great is, everybody's version of great is different. I think for me, what a great dad is, my goals are not my kids' goals. My passions are not my kids' passions. My weaknesses might show up in my kids. I think great dads inspire emotion. Great dads are clear communicators. Great dads have patience. Great dads are present. Great dads are involved in their kids' lives. Great dads setting an example of how to love a partner. Great dads spend time with their kids.
That's a very complete answer. Every word entered my heart. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you bet.
Lots of notes here. Thank you so much for the value you've added today. Where can people find out more about you, Casey?
Yeah, I'm very active on LinkedIn. Thanks for asking. People can go to my website, which is just Casey Jacox, so CASEYJACOX.com. People can find, if they are readers and they want to check out my book. It's called Win the Relationship, Not the Deal. It's on Amazon. It's in Audible, Kindle, and paperback. My podcast comes out every week, every Thursday morning, wherever you consume your podcasts. And I love connecting with people. So if you want to reach out to LinkedIn, please do. I'd love to connect and learn more about how we can serve each other.
Thank you so much. If people want to start scale, be invited to podcast, podpire.com. That was Casey Jacox, mesdames et messieurs.